G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Daily affirmation: I trust myself to make the best decision for me. And with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the Barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by user TalcoBH, titled, My girlfriend, 30 female, is mad at me, 27 male, for not wanting to put her name on the title of the house. I've been dating my girlfriend for the last 10 months, and things have moved very quickly to say the least. We started living together about 1 month into the relationship, first at my condo, and now at her mum's house. Our relationship has been great overall, and we both love each other a lot, although my parents disapprove because they are worried they are after me for my money. I am a physician, and she works in a fairly low-paying and unstable field. Around 5 months into the relationship, my girlfriend and her mum started looking to buy a house for us because they felt that we were ready to get married. For me, I felt that we were moving too quickly, but I couldn't think of any reason why I didn't want to marry her, because she is so caring and sweet, and I am happy with her. Anyhow, so I was initially hesitant to jump to buying a house with my girlfriend so soon, but they were saying that the house prices will go up in the future and that they had found a plot with extremely good land and future value where we could build a home, so I decided to go along with it. We just recently finalized the purchase agreement, though don't officially own the title yet until the house is fully built. So far, we've only had to make the down payment of 20%, which amounts to about $203,000, since the house is worth $1.1 million. Because of her unstable income, and she was in quite a bit of debt, I ended up having to make the entire 20% down payment, which took a $130K loan from my parents and $20K from my own bank account. It was a pretty stressful process, to be honest, and my girlfriend didn't help much. She was playing games while I was asking her how I can pay for this down payment, and didn't really offer to contribute at all. I put the title of the house in my name because I felt that I had contributed all the money to it. She wanted to have her name added to the title. At first, I promised her I would add her name, and we would split the house 50-50 without thinking. But then I talked it over with my parents and close friends, and they advised me to keep the house under my name since I had put all the money in, and since we weren't yet married. They urged me to discuss this with my girlfriend as soon as possible, which I did tonight. It made me realize that I hadn't really considered what would happen if we broke up, and since we had been cohabiting for the past several months, we might be labeled as common law, which means she could claim 50% of the house. When I mentioned it to her, she got extremely upset, saying that I was being very selfish and cold-blooded, and that I was questioning the future of our relationship. This was not the case at all, but I just wanted to plan for the worst-case scenario. I guess a part of me still fears being taken advantage of. She started crying, and then her mum came downstairs and basically scolded me for 2 hours, saying that I should not have brought this up, and that I shouldn't have listened to my friends or my parents because they are not always acting in my best interests and wanting to break us up. I was very taken aback by this, as I felt that she was attacking my friends without even knowing them. She made a point of saying that I shouldn't learn from my friends. She then said me bringing up the title of the house was done in a very hurtful way, and she said that I didn't have enough love in my heart, that I was thinking in such calculating ways. I told her that it's easy for her to say that when they haven't put any money into it and rely solely on me to pay for the house. I mentioned that it was inconsiderate of them to start shopping for a house when they didn't have a solid plan for how to pay it off, except for relying on me. She and her mum told me that in Chinese culture, the husband is supposed to buy the wife the house. I pointed out that we weren't even married yet, and she said me bringing this up meant that I wasn't planning to marry her at all. That she said we were basically married because we were living together, which didn't make logical sense to me. Then she tried to guilt-trip me by bringing up how I was living in their house rent-free for the last few months, and I told them that it was not the same as buying a $1.1 million house. They kept insisting that it was the same principle, and that I should give to them what they have given to me without thinking about fairness or equality, since we are a family, even though we aren't even married yet. I guess deep down, I do still have reservations that there is a small chance that they may be conspiring to use me for my money based on the fact that they have been struggling financially and my girlfriend has not had a stable job, and that they seem quite eager for us to get married and have kids and buy this house all within 1 year. I've expressed my concerns about moving too fast, and they were always quick to discredit the opinion of my friends and family and claim that I should only listen to myself or them. They just keep asking me, "What are you waiting for?" and won't accept my answer of, "I don't know, I just need more time." Her mum told me that I won't ever find someone better, and that I need to put a ring on it right away. Of course, I cannot discuss my trust issues of the money with them for obvious reasons. I am feeling a bit gaslit here, but I also feel like I could just be being cold-blooded and selfish for thinking about money and not love. Right now, I'm torn between feeling like I'm being overly paranoid and selfish and insensitive by bringing up who owns the house, or whether I'm being manipulated or gaslit. Would appreciate an unbiased opinion here. Thanks. Honestly, OP, it sounds like they are steamrolling you and not giving you any space to breathe. Me personally, I would walk away from this. The fact they keep insisting that you don't talk to anyone else, you don't get any information or guidance from other people with lived experience, is just an incredibly red flag, is it not? I don't know about you, but if it were me, I'd be getting the hell out of that relationship. In the comments, Spicy Coconut Leaf says, "I wouldn't put her name on the house or anything else for now, especially after just dating for 10 months. Her mum and her seem very suspicious though. Proceed with caution." Yeah, OP, in this case, I'd go with your gut. Your gut is telling you that you are not ready to get married yet. Listen to it. And yes, it's definitely suspicious of them to pressure you into buying a house with your own money and have it titled to the both of you. I suggest you move out immediately, as they are using that against you. If you still want a relationship with her, explain to her that you both should take your time and ask her why you need to get married so soon. Yes, you love each other, but isn't that reason enough for her to trust you that you'll marry her eventually, when both of you are ready? You emotionally and she financially? This seems like some sort of scam, or she's a complete lunatic. Not sure which is a better option. OP replies, "When I tell them that none of my friends got married within 1 year, they say all of their friends got married within a year, and some even 3 days after meeting. They say that there is no right or wrong timeline for getting married, and seem to glorify getting married early as indicative of deeper feelings. I can't help but feel slightly manipulated and gaslit that they are discounting the experience of my friends and family." Bruh, you are being gaslit and manipulated. You sound naive. You are the one who decides when to marry, because if anything happens, you will be screwed financially. Your marriage is not for your girlfriend or her mum to decide. They are pushing this too much, and it is starting to sound like they are after your money. And now, onto the update. Hey everyone, just wanted to update you all on what happened. So my original post was regarding me and my girlfriend buying a house together, and her getting upset that I didn't want to put her name on the house title. As a brief summary, my girlfriend and I have been together for 10 months and started to look around for houses after about 6 months together. But our relationship had moved very fast, and we moved in together after 1 month, so we've spent more time together than some couples that have been together for 2 or 3 years. Not sure if this matters though. I have a very stable, high-earning job, and she was initially earning a lot when we first met, but fairly soon after she had to change careers, and now her income is very unstable. We found a plot of land to build a house worth $1.1 million. I put all the money down on the down payment, though my girlfriend's mum promised she would contribute $300K. A discussion with her about the rights to the house caused her to feel hurt, and then her mum intervened and said some very manipulative things. I reminisced about our relationship. The good. She is extremely sweet and caring 99% of the time. When we first met, she bought me an iPhone and would buy me thoughtful gifts all the time, even later when her finances were not doing well. She is also extremely affectionate, and even now always displays her affection to me, even when I'm not paying attention. Some have said that this is love bombing, though it's been consistent throughout the entire relationship. That 1% was her being upset or frustrated, and her tone of voice would be condescending or disrespectful, though we were always able to settle our disagreements very quickly. She was, and still is, a very reasonable person to talk with, and I feel like we can work together as a team to solve problems. She is very emotionally mature, and often knows me better than I know myself. I have learned so much by being with her, and feel I've become a more caring person, and in some ways, more confident and capable. She is very thoughtful, and always remembers the little things about me. She remembers all of my favorite snacks, and buys them every month, until recently when finances were a struggle. Overall, when I was with her, I felt happy and full of love. We were basically inseparable. I took a trip with her recently and made unforgettable memories. The bad. There were a number of red flags. Our relationship moved very quickly. We moved in after 1 month of seeing each other. We were spending all day, every day together, and with no boundaries. She had planned out opening up a clinic with me, as the doctor at the clinic, with a 10-year rental contract, which I would be locked into and responsible for paying overhead. I learned soon after we started dating that she was making a lot of money by working for this wealthy doctor who had a romantic interest in her. She cut off all personal contact with him after meeting me, though continued to work with him professionally even after he confessed to her for 2 months. She told me she worked with him until she could find alternate jobs for her friends who worked under her, but it was still suspicious. That said, she never hid anything from me, and I always felt that I could ask her anything about this. My parents have said for months that they didn't trust my girlfriend or her mom, based on their words and expressions and red flags as above. Not to say that they've always been right, but they do always have my best interests at heart. She told me very early on, about 2 to 3 months in, that she knew that I was the one, and wanted to spend the rest of her life with me. She wanted to get married, but said she would wait for me whenever I was ready. While this felt nice, I also felt it was suspicious she was so ready to commit after only a short amount of time. She has always been a very headstrong, confident person who didn't question her decisions. Also, she isn't keen on doing housework and will feel tired just from cooking for a few days or washing some dishes. After reminiscing and then sitting at home alone, my heart felt empty without this person. I couldn't reconcile the person I knew and loved from who she could be on the inside, if she really was after my money. I texted her that we should break up, and then found a time in person to talk and exchange our belongings. I brought up all of my concerns and told her that I simply cannot trust her anymore. To her credit, she was very respectful and gentle. It was difficult for me to face her, especially as she was extremely tearful and looked like she hadn't eaten or slept in 2 days. Despite this, she kept a loving smile on her face. On the surface, she seemed genuine. This is how the discussion went. I told her that her mum was extremely disrespectful to me, especially saying that I shouldn't listen to my friend's advice, and that I was selfish and cold-blooded to bring up the issue of the house title and rushing me towards marriage and kids. She told me that her mum was just very upset that I brought up the issue because in Chinese culture, it is considered very rude to sign any contract or separate out individual rights when it comes to property that is going to be a marriage home. She also said that her mum expected us to be married by the end of the year, and so felt that the house ownership was a non-issue, and was just hurt that I mentioned having a plan in case we break up, when to her, breaking up was not a possibility. Since she had invited me to live in her home, it meant she already saw me as her son-in-law. Since she was hurt, she said hurtful things without thinking. She also said that her mum was rushing us towards marriage and kids because her mum's health was not very good. History of cancer, and felt very unwell, but was afraid to get checked, and didn't think that she had much longer to live. She didn't want her daughter to be alone in this world if something were to happen to her. She also said her mum had heard bad things about this friend of mine who gave me the advice to have this conversation. Since I told my girlfriend that this friend of mine had cheated on his ex-girlfriend, then gotten together with that girl, so her mother felt that my friends were a bad influence on me. She told me herself that she never rushed me with marriage or kids, which is true. And it's true that she told me she didn't even like kids in the past, but wanted them because I did. She said we could get married whenever I was ready, even if that meant she had to get a stable job first. I told her that I was very stressed about making the down payment on the house, and I had brought this up with them, and they said they didn't have any money at the moment to help. To be fair, her mother helped me get an extension on part of the down payment, $53,000 out of the $203,000, by talking to the builder, but expressed no intention to pay any of the down payment. She said she asked me whether I had the money to make the down payment, and I said that while difficult, I did have the means to do so. And she said she fully intended to honor her mum's promise to pay $300,000 towards the mortgage, but the money was not ready yet. She also said that if it meant getting back together, she would be willing to take money out to pay for half of the down payment. I told her that it was too little too late, and that her previous actions suggested she had no intention to pay at all. I asked her why they started to look around for houses before they had gotten my agreement, and they said that at the time they were just browsing the market without an intention to buy. At the time, I was on board with the decision to buy a house. though we didn't discuss any concrete plan for how we would split the mortgage in the future. Also, since her mother had voiced about her culture that it was customary for the husband to buy the wife a house, I was concerned they wanted to put all the burden of paying for the house on me. I expressed that I felt unsupported by her during this time. She said she did ask me if I would be able to pay the mortgage in the future and showed me some calculations of the future mortgage. I told her that it would be difficult and I may need her help, and she said that she would help out as much as she could, but it wouldn't be 50-50. I was okay with that. However, I told her that based on the fact that they didn't help me with the down payment, and she doesn't have a stable job right now, I could not count on her to contribute to the house in the future. She promised me she would look for a stable job in the next few months, and that we didn't need to buy a house if I didn't feel ready. Through it all, she was very tearful and seemed genuine, and I was almost swayed. She brought up all of the good memories we had, and soon enough, I couldn't hold back my tears. Both our places were filled with the memories of things we had done and bought together. She told me she respected my decision and told me she hoped in the future I would trust my heart and not let others, family and friends, make decisions for me. We both wished each other the best in the future and we parted ways. It was kind of open-ended, but I did not say that there was no possibility of getting back together in the future. She told me she would wait for me if I ever changed my mind. Afterwards, I went home to my parents' house and analyzed everything that had been said, and all came to the conclusion that even though there was a chance I was wrong, and I just let go of someone who truly loved me with all of their heart, that there were too many red flags for me to ever fully trust her again. Also, this was the second time I had discussed breaking up with her. The first time was due to opening the clinic after 3 months, which she agreed to not do anymore, so I gave her another chance. So I felt there was no returning from this. Also, my parents reassured me that I am still young and have lots of opportunities, so no need to dwell too much on the unknowns. In the end, I feel that I made the right decision, although I'm lying if I say I didn't have any lingering doubts. Thanks for reading. In the comments, Jen5872 says, FFS. No, you don't buy a house with someone you've only been dating for 10 months. You don't move in together after 1 month. You don't buy a house you can't afford on your own. If your girlfriend's mom has to chip in, the house is out of your price range. I think you did the right thing ending it, considering everything, but geez, you really need to be more careful in how fast you move your relationships along. Take your time. Be a believer in your instincts. From the beginning, this woman and her mother tried to control you and bind you to her financially in a number of ways. You made the right choice to break up, but how about the house? Can you handle the costs, or do you need to get out of the contract? And OP replies, I could handle the costs, though it would still be a pretty big burden on me. I think I would rather lose a portion of my deposit, $150K so far, rather than double down on the sunk cost to buy the house. Ideally, I will try to get the entire deposit back, but even if I don't, with my salary it's not the end of the world. An expensive lesson, but I'm glad that I dodged a much bigger bullet. Can you maybe have some roommates to offset costs? OP replies, if I could, that would be amazing, though I don't know if any of my friends would be keen to take on that risk. Could try, but I'd rather try to get my deposit back. It's only been 2 days since I gave the deposit. Damn, bro. You should probably be in some real estate or legal subreddits to see if you can get your deposit back. That is a lot of money. Generally, you have contingencies or something that let you get your money back. And if you can't get your money back, I wonder if moving forward with the purchase and selling it later might be an option. And OP says, if I can't get any of the deposit back, then would probably be better to build it than sell it, hoping the sale amount would be less than the $150K difference from the purchase price. Worst case scenario, it could be a house upgrade for my parents. Honestly, what an absolute nightmare of a situation that one was, but I'm happy for you that you managed to escape, OP. Not everyone makes it out of these situations like you have, and it's very easy to believe the lies that are being spewed to you from someone that you're supposed to love and trust, and their family members. And yeah, I do hope that you get that deposit back, because goddamn, that's a lot of money. Anyway guys, what do you think about that one? I would love to know in the comments down below your thoughts and opinions. Our next post is by user FairIsFair1, titled, Am I the asshole for not letting my sister-in-law hold our baby? My wife and I just brought home our beautiful baby. When we got home, I wanted my older son to hold the baby, as he is 14, but my wife said no. She said she wasn't comfortable with anyone but us holding the baby yet. I wasn't happy about this, but I respect that, as a mum, she's anxious about how vulnerable our baby is, so I let it go. Yesterday, her sister came over and wanted to hold the baby. I said no, that my wife and I aren't comfortable with anyone but us holding him yet. My wife then said that it was fine, that her sister was a special case. I said no, that I wasn't comfortable with it. Her sister was offended and left. My wife is angry with me and says that I was an asshole to her sister. I think I'm just being consistent. Was I an asshole to my sister-in-law? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I wouldn't let my sister-in-law hold our baby. I might be the asshole because I only said no because she said no to my son holding him. I'm gonna go with no because it is being consistent. It doesn't seem as though there's any threat that the 14-year-old poses to this baby, and it doesn't seem as though there's any specific reason that the sister is a special exception. I honestly don't know what the hell your wife's deal is with your son, but maybe that needs to be sorted out. Not the asshole. In the comments, Oaks and Pines 1776 says, "Not the asshole. Thank you for standing up for your son. He is 14, not a toddler. The day prior she was not comfortable, but now it's fine for her sister? Is son both your child or a stepchild?" OP replies, "He is just my child." Well then your wife is a massive asshole. Don't let her start a rift between siblings this early. Half siblings can love each other just as much as full siblings, but not if mum is constantly pushing one away. Don't let her do this to your son. I'm a half sibling, and my oldest brothers were the first ones to hold me when my mum took me home. Don't let her poison your kids against each other. Same for me, but I was the older brother in my case. I wouldn't give that memory away for anything. I love my little sister over everything. Quote, "My wife is angry with me and says that I was an asshole to her sister." Well, by that logic, she is an asshole to your underage son. Not the asshole, but ask your son if he has ever had any weird situations with her. Not the asshole. Your wife can't make one rule for some and not for the others. Well, technically, yes, you can make different rules for different people, but I think I understand the point that you're making about being consistent. If someone demonstrates that they cannot be trusted to follow instructions, regardless of age, they can and should be barred from contact. That means siblings, grandparents, and everyone in between. OP's wife made a unilateral decision that only the parents can touch the baby. Okay, that's the rule, until it wasn't, since family. Not the asshole. What was the reasoning given that her sister was a special case, and your son, who needs to bond with his new sibling, is not? I'm presuming by unattractive interference about her, possibly that your wife is not your son's mother. This is the part where I wonder how she treats him when OP isn't there. I bet she tells the kid stuff and treats him as an other, and it'll get worse now that her real child is here. And that is where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.